Welcome to Subramani. Uh, I have a few questions to ask, and I think the persons who should reply to this are perhaps some economists and some politicians who think the economy is doing very badly. Assuming for a minute that the economy is doing very badly, why have the Tatas through Air India and Indigo gone and ordered for 500 new planes? Of course, it happened some time back. Why are so many airports coming up if they are not going to be full? Are people just building airports, roads, just because they have money and they don't have anything else to do? I have my doubts. So, first question is, if the economy is doing so badly, if the fuel prices are bothering people, why are SUV sales going up? Why are planes so packed? Why are airports so packed? You don't have a place to stand in the airport. And thanks to things like Digi Yatra, at least the process is faster. But all airlines, if you see, they have 10, 12 counters, out of which maybe 8 or 9 are manned, and still there is so much traffic to handle, especially during the vacation season. So that is one question to ask. If the economy is really doing badly, why is it that people are spending so much on SUVs, on hotels, on Zomato, on Swiggy, right? Why are people spending so much? Second, there is reason to believe, if you believe the RBI, that people are spending too much by borrowing. Right and wrong, but you have to understand that there was one YouTube or some channel where I was seeing that people are borrowing too much. Absolutely, people are borrowing too much. Maybe when your father bought a house in the 1970s or 80s, he took a 3.5 lakh rupee loan because that house was worth 7.5 lakhs or 9 lakhs or 10 lakhs, whatever. But then you are borrowing much more. Maybe you're borrowing 3 crores, or okay, if not 3 crores, maybe you're borrowing 1 crore, right? But then when your father borrowed, your father borrowed as a percentage of his CTC, right? Your father did not have a 1 crore CTC to be able to borrow 1 crore. Maybe he had a 3.5 lakh rupee job and he was borrowing 3.5 lakhs, or maybe he was borrowing 5 lakhs. Today you have a 1.8 crore CTC. Why would you not borrow 1 crore? Because even if you borrow 2 crores, you're just borrowing 1 year CTC. And if you, husband and wife, both are working, let's say both together are earning about 3 crores per annum, you will borrow 3 crores, right? So your father borrowed 3 lakhs, you borrowed 3 crores. It's very clear that the borrowing will happen based on your income level and your feel good. If your portfolio is doing very well, and on that day you say, okay, let me not disturb my portfolio, I just need 20 lakhs to buy a car, let me go and borrow, maybe make a 20 lakh, maybe make a 5 lakh down payment, and the balance let me pay by EMI because my equity is doing well. So that feel good factor, your net worth is going up, your salary is going up, allows you to borrow more. I am not saying everybody is borrowing responsibly, but you need to understand that that I have the ability to repay. So only because you have the ability to repay your borrowing, then you're great. If you're borrowing because you're addicted to it and you need something and you don't know how you're going to repay, that is the bad borrowing. So good borrowing, bad borrowing, both exist. See what kind of borrowing that you're doing. There is one thing which is bound to happen with more and more borrowing and spending, etc. The gap between haves and have-nots will change. So if I am a shareholder of HDFC, I am very happy that people are borrowing from HDFC and they are repaying, because I am a shareholder. So my net worth is going up as more and more people are buying and more and more people are borrowing and buying. So depending on that, the gap between haves and have-nots will definitely increase. The shareholders of banks will benefit more than the shareholders of, than the persons who are borrowing. Similarly, RBI says, oh, I'm going to control the amount of money which is being lent to NBFCs, which is leading to consumption. RBI is living in its own world. First of all, if I were Uber, if I were Apple, if I were Samsung, I am sitting on tons of cash abroad. right? So why will I not apply for an NBFC license in India and fund it? Maybe put 1 lakh crores in it. Does not translate to too much of an amount if you see the dollar rate, right? So they put in, say, 1 lakh crores. Let's say it is Uber which is putting in 1 lakh crores. Uber may not need that much. Let's stick to Apple needing 1 lakh crores. Apple puts 1 lakh crores, creates an NBFC, and that NBFC funds all Apple purchases. What is going to happen going forward is, in 3 years time, all these people are going to come back like addicts and say, oh, I need a newer version, I need a better version. Can I also buy that watch on that EMI? Because people have just reconciled to saying, okay, 6,000 per month is an EMI which I can pay for a phone, right? So some 30,000-40,000 rupees down payment, and the balance 6,000 over 2 years, 3 years, depending on the cost of the phone. So this is quite common. So this people will keep coming back. The phone is now like an FMCG product, so people will buy it again and again and again. And so what you have to be worried about if you're young is to see how many cell phones will you buy in the rest of your life, and how much of that is going to come from borrowing, right? So who is going to crib about the economy? Well, the opposition leaders are cribbing. The rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer, but that's behavior pattern. You can't really help it. Will we ever be in a good time to buy shares again? I really don't know, but yes, if you're doing an SIP, just start. Because if you wait for, let's say you wait for Zomato to come down to 47 for you to be able to buy, that's a permanent wait, right? It is not going to come down. Yes, will it come down from 130 where it was yesterday? Of course it will come down. Maybe it will come to 110. But if you are waiting for the price to reach 47 before you start buying, that's not going to happen. So forget about those kind of things. Just start investing, because when you do an SIP, the fund manager is perhaps buying the same shares at a higher and higher price. Maybe he is buying Zomato at 120, at 130, at 140, right? Because you are giving him money and he is buying Zomato, he is buying, right? So whatever, Zomato is just an example. Similarly, you have to see where you are investing and what you are doing. Is it a good time to be buying shares? Well, depending on, if you want money in 2025, that money should not be in equity. If you need money in 2035, then it's a good place to be in. So look at the 2035 price of the share that you wish to buy, and then decide whether it is expensive. If you look at 2025, the market is terribly overheated. You will be very well served by investing in long-term bonds, or rather in funds which invest in long-term bonds, right? So that makes more sense today, because interest rates are likely to go down from here, not up, or not much up, right? So that brings us to another question. Is it a best time to be buying a house? I really don't know, because if you need a house, just buy it. You cannot postpone your marriage or your son's marriage or anything and say, oh, I will buy a house when the prices come down. You buy a house when you need a house. That's it. It's as simple as that. We are not going to be able to predict. If you go and buy a house now and your son starts using it, and your son entertains people, maybe after 2-3 years he has a kid, all those things happened in the new house. Be happy with those fond memories. Don't look at it and say, oh, 3 years back if I put in the index, I would have got better return. You have put money in the index, right? So you have put money in the index, you have put money maybe even in PMS, you put money in direct equity, and you bought a house. You're enjoying everything, right? So look at it that way, rather than saying, I will put all my money in the equity markets, index, whatever, and I will not buy a house. If that gives you happiness, that's great. If that does not give happiness to others in the family, bad luck. Thank you.